So I am going to see if I can talk myself out of a panic attack. Okay. So, I don't even know where to begin. Right now, my heart is racing. I hear my heart beating in my ears. I feel dizzy, weak, shaky. My heart's racing and pounding. I feel like I can't breathe. I feel shaky. It's just horrible the way that I feel right now. I want to cry. I kind of feel like I'm going to throw up. So I'm going to just see if I can keep talking and talk myself out of a panic attack. And I wanted to document this because I know that there are so many other people out there that have what I do. Panic attacks make me feel exhausted. I mean, obviously it's the middle of the night right now, but when you experience them, after you're done experiencing them, I just feel exhausted. And you almost feel like you're defeated. You kind of feel so angry at yourself. You know, off on a tangent for a second, when I was younger, because I started having this when I was a teen, and I'm in my 40s now, so a very long time. When I was a teen, when I was in my 20s, 30s, you know what everyone would tell me? When I would have a panic attack, I felt like my heart was racing, all that stuff. It was so upsetting because everyone's like, it's just in your head. Calm down, relax. It's in your head. I hated the word relax because when you have an anxiety disorder, which I have panic disorder and I have generalized anxiety disorder. I was diagnosed by a doctor. And when you have that, you literally cannot calm down. You can't just calm down, relax. And yeah, you know what? It is in your head because you have that disorder. And what's horrible about this is that you get physical symptoms, real, genuine physical symptoms when you have a panic attack. It's not like you think your heart is racing, your heart's actually racing. It's not that you just feel dizzy or tingly or feel like you're going to pass out. You actually experience all these things. It just made me so mad. Like, oh, just calm down. Just calm down. I always got told to just calm down. Like, you can't just calm down when you're having anxiety, when you're having a panic attack. So, anyways, like I said, since I was a teenager, my anxiety was so bad, and now, since I was in my late 20s, I would say, and 30s, I would wake up in the middle of the night. Yes, exactly. Worst thing anybody can say is just calm down. Exactly. I hate the word calm and relax. I want to feel calm. I want to feel relaxed, and you just can't. You don't know how. And so in the middle of the night, I've been waking up with my heart pounding. Literally, my heart pounding, racing, dizzy. Feel like I can't breathe. My throat is dry. And if you watch my other videos on here, you will see a ton of videos with me explaining the same types of symptoms. And I don't do this now, but prior, I would call an ambulance. I would literally call 911. In the USA, it's 911. I don't know where you guys are. But I would call 911, and I would always experience heart-related symptoms because that's what I was genuinely having. I was like, oh my God, my heart's like beating 220 beats a minute. My blood pressure was sky high. I feel like I can't breathe. I feel like I'm going to pass out. And of course, they send the ambulance. If I had to guess, I was probably in an ambulance 25 times. And every single one, except for one, every single ambulance person would, of course, take it seriously. and they would hook me up to the monitors, take my blood pressure. I remember one paramedic put like this pill under my tongue. I guess it's for when you are having a heart attack, which of course I never had a heart attack. My heart is healthy. I see a cardiologist regularly. I have gotten countless tests, countless blood work, and guess what? I still won't 100% believe it, because in the back of my head, I'm like, there's something wrong. And that's with people with anxiety. There's probably something wrong. And that's what you think. And the word probably is like your worst nightmare, because you just keep thinking, I know a doctor said I was fine, but what if this? What if that? And it's like a vicious cycle. Oh, yeah. You went to the ER, it was like 200, yeah. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. And sometimes whenever I went to the ER, my heart rate would kind of spike, and it would get worse, and I was having worse symptoms. And then sometimes it would go down. I have a condition called premature atrial and premature ventricular contractions. So when they hooked me up, you would actually see it on the heart monitor, like my like the little heart wave. It would quote unquote mess up, and I feel every single one of them. I don't understand how anyone could have, like, when you're aware of your heart doing these things, how can you have this and not freak out? That's always what I said. I feel it happening, and so many doctors told me, oh, you're just one of the lucky ones. So many people have these premature beats and they don't even feel it. And I'm just one of the lucky ones that literally feel every single one of them. I'm going to read these messages because this is important. Is that easy? Yeah, if it was that easy, it wouldn't be a panic attack. You've battled panic disorder for over 12 years. Same exact symptoms for me too. Yeah, I went to the ER like 200 times. Yeah. And every single time, I mean, nothing ever makes it easier, because whenever I was in the ambulance, the 12th time I was in the ambulance, I knew it was probably the same stuff, but I wasn't going to just sit at home and die. In my head, I was just like going to sit at home and die. And I had to hurry up and call the ambulance. I had to hurry up and tell them all my information, because if something did happen to me, at least they knew everything. That's what was in my head. So the only thing that ever, quote unquote, kind of helped me was when my daughter was like 2 years old. I was like, I don't want her to see me like this. I don't want my kids to think that this is normal. So I got a therapist, and luckily I qualified for something called mobile therapy, where the therapist came out like every single week, and it ruined my life. I mean, because it literally ruined my life. I didn't have, and there's nothing wrong, when people have several mental health issues, but I didn't have any other mental health issues other than anxiety, panic attack, and generalized anxiety disorder. So these heart palpitations ruined my life. So even though I have genuine heart palpitations, I have high blood pressure, I have a high heart rate, it literally made it that much worse whenever I was experiencing panic attacks. And so I seen a therapist for like 14 months. And the whole time I seen him, I was like, this is not working. I don't even know why I'm doing this. It's not working. And I'm telling you, the whole time, I never even felt a little bit better. But then once it was over, because the program was only 14 months, once it was over, I was like forced to use the tools that the therapist gave me to help me through exactly what I'm feeling right now. And believe it or not, it does help tremendously. This is my take on therapy. Therapy will not 100% cure you, but it will definitely help. Even if you think it's not helping, it's helping. You just have to find the right fit, because not all therapists are created equal. Some therapists, like the first therapist that I had, I feel like she gave me more anxiety. But then the one that actually ended up fitting with me, we just meshed. Yep. Blood pressure, yeah, heartbeat goes rapid, sky high, yeah. What did, if I can ask the person in the chat, what did your doctors tell you? Like, did they always take you seriously? Or did you, like, what happened? Did they tell you that it was anxiety right off the bat? Or did they always check for heart stuff? Because I would always get, like, a ton of blood work for heart-related issues. They would do an x-ray of my heart to make sure my heart wasn't enlarged. They would do ultrasounds. I've gotten nuclear stress tests done. I've gotten so many different things done with my heart, just checking to see that I was okay. I even got checked for blood clots, like in my legs. They did an ultrasound and scanned my legs to make sure I didn't have blood clots. I've gotten so many different tests done, and I think that this is a common thing with people with anxiety, where you will get test after test, see doctor after doctor, and you never quite 100% believe that you're okay. Especially when you really do have a medical condition like I have, even though my medical condition is benign. Meaning like it's not gonna hurt me, but it does hurt me because it contributes to my anxiety, and all of this has ruined my life. It's ruined my life so bad where I ended up having to stop working. They sent me to a cardiologist, got stress tests, hooked up several days. Everything always keeps coming back fine. Yeah, I've worn heart monitors. I can't even tell you how many different heart monitors I've worn. I wore one for like 24 hours. I wore one for 2 weeks. Multiple different kinds of heart monitors. And I remember several of the ones that I had the ability to push a button when I was feeling like an instance, when I felt like my heart was racing or palpitating, whatever. I was able to push a button and record, so they could go like on the tape whenever they're looking, and they can see, oh, what is she experiencing when she's feeling something. And I will never forget one time when I was wearing one of the monitors, my heart kept messing up so bad, and of course I hated it, but I was almost thankful that at least I was wearing the monitor and it was catching it. So I kept pushing the button, not just because I felt it once. I mean, I kept feeling it over and over and over. So I pushed the button countless times. And I remember asking the cardiologist, I said, what about this day and this time? What was wrong with my heart then? And they said, you know what they said? They're like, oh, yeah, we see you push the button many, many, many times, but when you pushed it, there was nothing irregular going on with your heart. I'm like, you're kidding me, right? You're kidding me. Like, no, I felt something going on with my heart. And they're like, no, nothing irregular was going on with your heart. And I'm like, come on. And what I ended up realizing later on is that I felt like my heart was pounding, but my heart wasn't beating weird. It wasn't anything irregular, but I felt like it. And on top of this, I also have acid reflux, and I think that I have esophageal spasms. So I think that I may have been experiencing that. When you have anxiety, everything is heightened, right? Every single thing. So you could feel like there's a million things wrong with you, but really you're just experiencing anxiety, which of course in itself is the issue, right? So anyways, what I've realized helps too, besides seeing the therapist and having the tools, is talking about it. And even if there wasn't one person on this live right now, I think I'd be talking and letting people, watch this for later on, because talking yourself out of a panic attack, that might not work for everybody, but it really helps me. And now I'm almost 15 minutes into this video, and now finally I just started feeling like my heart is not pounding anymore. And I feel exhausted. Of course, it's the middle of the night, so I'm gonna feel exhausted, but I literally feel like panic attacks kick your butt. They just kick your butt. You feel so tired. Oh, let me tell you one more story. If there's anybody watching this right now and have not watched my videos, I always think that I'm gonna die every time I have panic attacks. So now that, look, and I would have called, sorry, I'm all over the place. When you have anxiety, it's your brain's going in a million different directions, right? I would have already called 911, by the way. I would be in an ambulance right now if I didn't have therapy. and I would be hooked up to the monitors. I'd be sitting in an ambulance, and you know what? I think maybe more than just the one paramedic knew that there was nothing really going on, because there's been many times an ambulance has come out, sit out in front of my place, hook me up, do everything, but they weren't driving to the hospital in the meantime. They were literally just sitting out in front of my house. Usually it was the middle of the night. I don't really ever remember calling them in the middle of the day. It was always seemed to be the middle of the night. Oh, yeah, I know this is my first video in a long time. I actually did go live, I don't know, a few months ago, because so many people would text, or not text me, message me and say, hey, how's this person doing? Does anybody know? And I do try to approve and respond to the comments. But yeah, I have not made videos in a really long time. Obviously, I have a kid now, and my anxiety has, like, destroyed my entire life. You don't have any emergency posts? Yes, okay, so, no, I don't have any, like, Xanax or anything, no. However, back when I very first started having this, um, I've seen so many doctors, and it was not to get any kind of medication. It was because I genuinely thought something was wrong with me. A doctor would dismiss it. I would go to the next doctor. Like, I just wanted relief, and I'm one to hate pills. So I never asked for pills. I never even wanted pills. However, I think one or two doctors in the years and years that I, went to all these different doctors, I remember one doctor giving me, like, 2 weeks worth of Xanax, and I think one other doctor gave me, like, 3 pills for, like, an emergency situation. And I think out of all those pills, I only ended up taking, like, it 2 times, and I'll tell you, it really did help me. However, nowadays, so now here we are in 2020, doctors will not even prescribe it, and I don't even ask for it. But I remember just a few years back now, I remember saying, something has taken over my life, and it's got me thinking. Yeah, I'll tell you about my job situation here in a second. But, yeah, so doctors won't even prescribe, the Xanax, or, like, I can't remember the class of medications they're called, but a lot of doctors won't just prescribe them anymore because a lot of people abuse them. Well, I don't have a history of abuse. I have never abused any kind of drugs or medication. I've never even been on any kind of drugs, ever. I'm on blood pressure pills. And it's unfortunate, because the people that really do need medications like that, it's like it's ruined for the people that really need it, because people abuse it. And it's sad. Like, doctors should write correct prescriptions for people that genuinely need it and people that aren't going to abuse it. And yeah, if I could have those types of medications for, like, times like right now, I would. And I don't. Where you guys are, I don't suffer anymore after 12 years of fighting it. How do you not suffer anymore? Please share, honestly. I know that there's probably a lot of people that are going to watch this video, and any kind of tips or suggestions, because yes, it's absolutely crippling. So here's about my job. I cannot work outside the home because of this kind of stuff. It's so bad. I have had so many jobs. I can't even count how many jobs I've had, and usually this is what I end up doing. I don't give 2-week notice. I don't even give a day notice. And this is so bad, and I don't recommend anybody doing this, but I didn't have a choice. I was having a panic attack in every single one of these situations. I was having a panic attack. And you know what I did? I was at my job. You know what I did? I just left. I literally just left. I didn't tell anybody I was going anywhere. Nothing. So one job I worked for a call center. Maybe it was 2. Yeah, 2 different jobs I worked for a call center. I know the one for sure, I told the customer to hold on. I told him to hold on because I was having full-blown panic. Of course, at that time, I didn't know it was panic, right? I thought I was having a heart attack. My heart was pounding. I started getting dizzy. I told the customer to hold on, and I walked out of the building. Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, I see your message. Yeah, meds can really genuinely help. Um, so yeah, I was working and I literally just walked out of the building, and who knows how long that poor customer stayed on hold. And I remember calling 911, but I didn't want to wait for 911 to get there, so I ended up driving to my doctor's office, who had so many different doctor's offices, but the doctor's office also had like an emergency kind of like section. So I remember driving to my doctor's. I was freaking out, and ironically, I was on the phone with 911 as I was driving. They probably thought I was crazy, and an ambulance finally ended up getting to my doctor's office as I got to my doctor's office. And that's whenever the guy really thought there was something wrong. He put like this medication under my tongue, and I went to the hospital, and of course it was quote unquote just anxiety. I worked at another job where, of course, I started experiencing the same thing, and again, I didn't know it was panic, and I literally just walked out again. Most jobs ended up getting very angry and firing me, and a couple jobs were actually concerned. Oh, you okay? What's wrong? And I always just felt so defeated. I felt so ashamed of myself. I walked out of my work like, dude, I've been using vacation. Yep, I did. I used personal time instead of let it happen, let it rest. But yeah, I I um I literally, I just felt so bad. And I just felt so bad whenever I did this with jobs because they counted on me. In some instances, I was like an assistant manager or supervisor, and I just felt so bad. I let them down, and I couldn't even face them anymore. I couldn't call them. Sometimes I would just change my phone number, and I just kind of went MIA. Not kind of, I did. I went MIA, and that's horrible. And I felt so bad, but I could not. I couldn't. I was so. It was such embarrassment, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to walk out of my jobs. I didn't want to stop making money. And so here I am, right? Years and years and years later. Let me. I will learn something. Yeah. Um, Here it is, years and years later, right? I have not had a quote unquote job where you go in, punch a time clock, because this is what was in my head with jobs. Especially the line of work that I worked in, a lot of times there was only one other person working with me, or sometimes I was by myself in my department. So it's not like, if I left, like, oh, so many other people could, like, pick up where I left off, right? Like, my jobs, like, except for when I worked in the call center and left a customer on hold. I know that's horrible. Um, but yeah, I literally just could not, I just couldn't do it. I could not stay at the job anymore. And yeah, I just stopped working altogether, and I knew I needed to work. I wanted to work, and I wanted to, back in early 2000s, I ended up having, or not early 2000s, but early 2010s, I had a child, and I wanted to, of course, support her. So I ended up making these YouTube videos. I, do this, and even this channel right here, Hope for Anxiety, I was making a few dollars, nothing great at all, literally just a few dollars, which would help. I couldn't live on it, but it would help. And then YouTube did this thing where they stopped monetizing like a lot of channels, and then you had to meet certain requirements, and of course my channel didn't meet those requirements. I think I finally got enough subscribers, but I don't have enough watch hours, so I was making a few dollars, and then when they did this, my channel got demonetized, and I literally don't make any money whatsoever from this channel, which of course is horrible, because I didn't make this channel to make money. I made this channel for support. I want to make sure that other people can benefit from my experiences, because I have had so many positive people and so many positive comments. I can't even tell you. And unfortunately, I would probably do it way more, but I have to, right now, basically, I work online, and it's all for myself. It's not a company, because I know that if I work for a company, something's eventually going to happen. Like, hey, you have to be online at home from 8 to 4, and then I just kind of feel stuck. Even when I worked at a job, that I know I got off on a tangent, but I always would feel stuck. So when my heart was racing, I felt stuck. And when you have a panic attack, you need to escape, right? Does anybody else need to escape? Because I know that I always do. And I just need to get out of wherever I am, because I usually associate that place with a panic attack. So I just would have to leave. And when you work and you're the only person in your department, I mean, what are you going to do? Like, you have to leave. So yeah, so anyways, I've tried to make money on here, and yeah, it's just not working. I really wish that I could make a better community, have a lot more people, followers, and I just want to help people, and I want to make sure that I can talk myself out of a panic attack. So now here we are, 26 minutes into the video, and I actually feel like I'm calming down. I don't feel like I'm in active panic mode. And in my head, this is how I view a panic, right? So there's the initial freak out that you think everything's wrong. And especially if you've been through therapy, I would say halfway through, you're like, yeah, this is probably anxiety. But like I said earlier, the word probably, when you have a panic disorder, the word probably is what kills you, because I'm like, yeah, this is probably anxiety. My heart is racing. It's the same thing I've been experiencing for years. But what if this is the time that it's not just anxiety? What if maybe it really is something wrong with my heart? And if I don't just call, you've helped me out. Aw, thank you. Yeah, that means so much. And I always think, like, what if this is the time that it's not just anxiety? I want to call the ambulance, and I want to make sure they know everything. And what if I'm passed out on the floor before they get here? And let me tell you something else. So, there's first responders, and I appreciate what first responders do. In my case, usually a police officer would come before the ambulance. And unfortunately, I think a lot of police officers don't have training in these types of medical situations, or even if it is just quote-unquote anxiety, it's real to us, right? We're not calling the ambulance. We're not going into the ER for fun. We genuinely think there's something wrong, and we want to make sure that we're okay. Like, it's not just for fun. And I think a lot of times whenever a police officer came, they were very cold, but I know that I'm the kind of person that, I'm a compassionate person. I need a lot of comforts. And of course, I didn't expect the police officer to hug me or whatever. But I remember them coming and me like freaking out and saying like all these things with, hey, I feel like I'm having a heart attack. I'm only 20-some years old. I'm only 30-some years old. And I would just go on and on. And I will never forget the police officer kind of just standing there and just kind of like staring at me and barely saying anything, like nobody ever said you're going to be okay. It's just, I know that first responders, I guess they have to come out, right, whenever, an ambulance is en route. But they never helped me at all. And like I said, I don't necessarily expect them to help me. But it almost makes me wonder, well, why did they come out? Like, I can understand if it was like a domestic situation or there was something like going on, but it was, a medical call, and I don't know, maybe they can administer some first aid. I don't know. I actually don't know any specifics, but I remember feeling so bad because I would just ramble, and they kind of just stood there and looked at me like I was crazy. Yeah, so I was offered medication a few times, and I was always 100% against it. I was like, I don't need medication, because medication in my mind, this is not currently, back years ago, I was like, it's going to make it worse. And so my stance on medication now is I 100% agree that if it is for you and if it's recommended, I definitely think it will help. I have never been on medication long term, I decided to end up going with the therapy route. And my therapist, like I said, I seen him for 14 months, and he literally gave me my life back. And there was a period for like a few years there where I would only experience panic attacks um, every once in a while, which is still too much. Every panic attack is still too much. But I wouldn't experience them regularly like I had been. And while therapy is not a cure, it was enough to where I wasn't experiencing this all the time, 24/7, like I was. And so I was like, okay, I don't, I never really wanted medication. And in my head, I didn't think I needed it, but I did. I needed it. And so I was doing really well there for a while. Um, and now, I don't know why, my panic has started to pick back up again at night. But at least I'm not calling 911 anymore. I can't even remember the last time I called 911. And again, it's only because of the help of a therapist. And yeah, some people say medication is a band-aid. I think medication is part of the healing process. I think it's not just a band-aid. I definitely do think medication and therapy go hand in hand. It's almost like if you are taking medication, therapy helps, and vice versa. And I may visit the medication route. I'm definitely not against it. I'm actually proud of people that can be on medication when it's mental health related and they actually go on it and the doctor recommends it and it helps. Like, I'm proud of people like that because so many people with anxiety I know are against medication, and you almost feel like it's going to do the opposite of what it's prescribed. You're like, oh, look at these side effects, and wow, side effects, they have to be put out there. Probably those things aren't going to happen to you, but what did I say earlier? The word probably. Wake up screaming in the middle of the night. Yeah, the word probably is somebody with panic's worst nightmare, right? The word probably. Because you're like, oh, I'm going to take medication, but it probably won't give me the side effects, right? However, look at the list of side effects. It's going to give me this, 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 and this. But the whole reason you're taking it is because you have all these bad things, which, anxiety entails, and a lot of the side effects like fast heart rate and this and that, it's because of your anxiety. So anyway, yeah, I'm proud of people that, are recommended a medication and can just take it, especially if you have anxiety and you don't worry about it, or maybe you worry about it, but you're knowing that you need to be on that medication is stronger than any fear you have, because it's hard just even knowing you have to be on that medication, like, and accepting that, like, I mean, it's just hard. So I'm very, very proud of anybody that can actually do that. Yeah, I mean, I've had anxiety, like, since I was a teen, and I'm 40 years old now. It's just been such a nightmare. I have lost relationships over it. Most of the people that I was with were horrible people anyways. But I remember dating a couple people, and whenever I was 42, yep, I'm 40. I remember dating people and experiencing the panic attacks, and the one person was a really good person. And I remember telling him that, okay, when this happens to me, and this was actually when I was going through therapy. This person was there, and I made sure I told them, like, of course it's not your fault. I just need you to be there for me. And I remember they just ended up getting very, I think, just irritated with my anxiety. Just very irritated. And now here I am, single, 40 years old, and I just feel like if I ever did find somebody, like, I would probably sabotage it with my anxiety. Whenever I wake up, I remember somebody else I was dating, like, in the middle of the night when this kind of stuff would happen, I would wake him up and be like, oh my God, my heart is racing, like, I feel like I can't breathe, my head, like, would say all these things that I was genuinely experiencing, and they'd be like, oh, "You're fine. Go back to bed," and they just eventually. Sorry, I'm doing a video. I know that my finger came off the camera there. I just look like shit right now, and I literally woke up in the middle of the night. That's why I'm just doing an audio video. But I remember telling this person all this stuff, and they just kind of ended up getting irritated with me. And I think that my anxiety sabotaged my relationships. So that's why I think, like, if anybody could ever be with somebody like me that has anxiety, that's a person worth staying with. I just feel so defeated. I feel so bad, but at least I feel like I have mostly my anxiety under control. So my little girl, who in one of the videos you'll see her laying on my bed, and she was just a baby. Yeah, now she's in elementary school, and she, of course, looks up to me. And when I am having these panic attacks, thankfully, they usually happen in the middle of the night when she's sleeping, and she doesn't see me like this. However, every once in a while, destroyed due to anxiety, I feel like nobody understands me. Yep. I feel like nobody understands me either. You should look me up on Twitter. I have a Twitter too. If anybody ever wants to message me, please feel free to reach out, because YouTube messaging, it's just ridiculous. So yeah, that's why I have a Twitter. It's literally Hope for Anxiety. And if anybody ever wants to send me a message, please feel free, because trust me, I know how it feels. Any little thing too, sorry, this is going to be off on a tangent here, and I know I've been talking for almost 37 minutes, but any little thing that happens to me, I always make such a big deal about it. Here's an example. Give me my life back. Yeah. I guess I got bit by a spider. I've been working in the basement to try to kind of clean it up. And, like on my stomach, I have a spider bite, you know. And it's fine. It's just a freaking spider bite. But let me tell you what my brain did. I'm like, oh my God, I have a spider bite. It's getting red. Oh my God, I was probably a poisonous spider. How much time do I have to live? Oh my God, it's itchy. It's getting redder. Well, of course it's getting redder because I'm itching it. And see, this is also where, you know, things go hand in hand, right? Panic disorder and generalized anxiety disorder kind of go hand in hand, where I make a big deal out of nothing. And, like, here's another example. Yesterday, on my wrist, I just have like a little patch of eczema, and it was real itchy. But in my brain, look how insignificant that is. Everyone that's listening to this is probably like, big deal, like, just itchy. But in my head, I'm like, oh my God, why is my skin itching there? I don't remember, like, you know, irritating it with anything. But now, right, now that I'm talked down from my anxiety, I'm like, yeah, it's just a patch of itchy skin. But I'm like, oh my God, I have a blood clot. What's wrong with me? Oh my God, I think I have liver failure, because I think, or not liver, kidney or liver failure. I can't even remember which one it is. And I don't have those things. But I know that if you get itchy all over, that's like a symptom of something. And I'm like, oh my God, I have that. I'm the kind of person that would walk, like, I used to have to wait for the bus. And let's say there would be like a house by the bus stop, and there was an air conditioner, one of the window units, like up on the 3rd story window. I would think that air conditioner is going to fall out of the window and like hurt somebody. So yeah, well, that part isn't panic attack. That part's definitely the generalized anxiety disorder. And nobody necessarily understands the difference between having general anxiety, which most people have. Most people have general anxiety, and that's normal. But then generalized anxiety disorder, horrible name for the disorder, that's a debilitating disorder that can ruin your life. And that's what I have. I'm like exhausted, like, I'm just so exhausted, and I'm so sick. Oh, my phone is gonna die. I keep getting these notifications saying my phone's gonna die. So if it does, know that I'm not just like cutting